straight to questions. Please identify yourself in the media when you ask a question. Yes.
Hello, Mr. Grossi.
Hello.
Behrang Tajdin from BBC Persian Service. I have a question about Iran, and
yes.
that is, what is the bare minimum required in terms of measures to be taken by Iran in the next few weeks to substantially change your current assessment of Iran's compliance with its obligations under JCPOA, MPT, and the Safeguards Agreement? Because you have you have given us your current assessment, and you are going to issue your comprehensive report soon. I want to know what is bare minimum required for you to substantially change your view of Iran's compliance.
Well, thank you very much. Well, it's interesting the way you put it. I don't know if one can talk about a bare minimum or a percentage or certain things on which they should engage or provide clarification. I think the whole thing, and when you look at the reports and the areas where we are requiring clarifications, there are many elements that are interconnected. There are, of course, elements that can be judged by, depending on the eye of the beholder, more important than others. I think what we need is an engagement that is substantive and tangible and concrete in all of these areas. It doesn't mean that we have to solve everything at one go. That would be impossible. But I think when you look at the areas where we are trying to get clarification on the uranium traces at certain places, at certain sites, the way in which they are enriching uranium at the levels they are. So it's a complex of different issues and topics. So my expectation is that we can have at long last a real engagement and start getting answers and start getting an interaction that is really moving us forward. My visit in November in this regard provided, I try always to be constructive, and I try always to reach out and to get results. But that visit provided me with an indication that there is perhaps an idea in Tehran that they should really work with us. But unfortunately, ensuing circumstances prevented us from working in this direction. So I would say what we need is real answers. What we need is an engagement that is moving forward. We need to stop talking about process and start getting some answers as soon as possible. Thank you.
Vasil Korotkий, Ukrainian news agency, Ukrinform. Mr. Grossi, Ukraine considers the recent rotation of the IAEA experts at the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant through Russian-occupied territory as a violation of its sovereignty and territorial integrity. Ukraine was neither informed about the date nor the route of the latest rotation and had to learn about it from media reports. Moreover, Ukrainian authorities were not provided with the names of the experts currently stationed at their own nuclear facility. Could you comment on this situation?
Yes, of course.
And does the agency not see a risk that such actions contribute to legitimizing Russia's occupation of the power plant?
Well, that last comment of yours reminds me of things that we were discussing back in 2022, when some considered that the engagement by the agency on this issue could constitute a legitimation of military actions or the occupation of territory, etc. And I think that we have proven together, Ukraine and the agency, we have proven that that was, of course, not the case. On the contrary, I think the presence of the continued presence of the agency's experts, not only in Zaporizhzhia, I remind you, but at the request of President Zelensky, in all facilities in Ukraine, and cooperation on a number of areas has proven to be invaluable, really, for nuclear safety, security, and hopefully reconstruction, since, as you know, we are already working on some areas with the Ministry of Energy regarding the future of the nuclear power program in country. What happened now is an extraordinary circumstance driven by the impossibility to conduct a rotation in a secure manner. I think reading more into that is not a good idea, because the only thing that has led us to this extraordinary exception to do the rotation in this way is that I am responsible for the security of my staff. I am responsible for their security. I'm responsible for their lives, and I cannot put them in harm's way. As you remember, rotation in December was affected by an attack of a drone. Then we tried again. The rotation had to be aborted. So there were a series of episodes which led me to the conclusion that I could not take risks with the lives of my experts. Any other political consideration, I think, is out of place, really. I think this is really and solely driven by the necessity to protect the lives of those who are working there. That is all I can say. And I have been in contact, I discussed this with President Zelensky, with Foreign Minister Sybiha, so it's not true that we have been doing this in an unilateral manner. Of course, it's a difficult situation, it's an exception, and the only thing behind this is the protection of the life of the experts. There is nothing more. Yeah.
China Media Group.
Yes.
China is rapidly expanding its nuclear energy capacity.
Yes.
With plans to build dozens of new reactors.
Yes.
So how does the IAEA view China's role in the shaping the future of the global nuclear energy?
Well, absolutely essential. Essential for China, and in general terms, very, very important. In terms of what is happening in China, we are working very closely with the Chinese nuclear regulator, with the Commission of Atomic Energy of China, with the companies CNNC and CNG, the government, of course, of China, with all of them. We see that they are developing also very innovative designs, which is very important, and we are looking into this. China is also moving in the area of small modular reactors and micro-reactors. So it's a whole gamut of technological development. So for us, it is obvious that we are looking into a phase of a very deep and very active cooperation with China. I hope to be in China soon and continue this joint work positively.
Hi, DG Grossi. Jonathan Tyrone.
Hello,
Bloomberg.
Jonathan.
Hi.
Hello.
You mentioned in your statement that Saudi Arabia had retracted its SQP.
Yeah.
I was wondering if you can update us on the status with your talks about a subsidiary arrangement to the CSA. How long will that take? And most importantly, have they achieved the conditions to fuel their first low-power reactor?
Yes, thank you very much. Well, yeah, as you rightly say, they finally rescinded its SQP, which means that now we can start with an initial declaration and to have some very, I would say, embryonic safeguards activity, given the fact that until, as you also comment, until they load their low-power research reactors. So it's a very, very small facility provided by Argentina. Until they do that, we will not have real inspection activity there. We are preparing for that. I am satisfied with the engagement from Riyadh on all these issues. And we are, of course, as you know, discussing about future plans that they have, which are continuing. I am aware that they are continuing their conversation with vendors, potential vendors, which is in the public domain, and we are trying to get them up to speed. For the moment, they will have to move in this direction. There has been, over the past few months, perhaps a relative slowdown in their conversations, and so we are accompanying this. I'm satisfied with the engagement that they are doing.
Just be clear. So the conditions, the safeguards conditions are now satisfied, so the low-power reactor can be loaded, correct?
Well, not completely. We have received the initial declaration. We are studying that, but in real terms, I would say there is nothing fundamental missing. When they do this, of course, there will have to be a concrete inspection activity.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Hi, this is Setsuko Inaki from
Hello.
Nippon TV.
Hello.
I just want to go back to the subject of the Ukraine.
Yes.
With the new, this is the first Board of Governors after Mr. Trump, the President Trump, take office. Mm-hmm. And how concerned are you in terms of the deployment of IAEA team, in terms of financial means, and then also security-wise? Because if the U.S. is pulling back their military and financial support to Ukraine, and then also maybe in adjunct to some of the activities that you might be doing for Ukraine, are you concerned about the bad influence or consequences of that decision?
Well, here I think you are combining two very important issues, which may or may not be interrelated. One thing is the review that the United States government is conducting about their involvement, support and financing of international organizations writ large. That is one thing. And the other thing is what may or may not happen with regards to Ukraine. On the first, of course, it's the sovereign right of the United States, which, by the way, is the number one contributor to all international organizations. So I find it quite logical that the new administration wants to look into that. The United States has been a steady supporter of the IAEA. One can say that the IAEA was originally an American idea. Today it belongs to all of us, but Atoms for Peace is an American idea, and the agency was a little bit the spin-off of that diplomacy in the 1950s. And they have been very strong traditionally and historically in supporting us. Of course, they will conduct their review, but I'm pretty confident that their strong support for the IAEA, perhaps, who knows, even stronger, because a reassessment may lead them to believe that we are worthy of every support they can give to an international organization. So I'm not very concerned about that. Of course, we will be waiting for news about it. With regards to our activities in Ukraine, I think it's very important to continue to count on the support of the United States and other countries, because, as I was mentioning to our Ukrainian colleague just now, we are engaged in a vast exercise, perhaps historically quite unique for the IAEA. We have become a field operation organization with that. We have cars, we have safety people, we have people in Rivne, in Khmelnytsky, in South Ukraine, in Chernobyl. So it's a very big operation, which is until now supported through extra budgetary contributions. So it's not necessarily part of the regular budget. So we are going to need and continue to need that support, which has been coming from Japan, from the European Union, from the United States, from many countries. So I hope to be able to continue to count on that support. I think it's very important as we have just passed the 3 years of the commencement, the start of this conflict, and we have seen the fact that the presence of the agency there, the establishment early on of 7 indispensable pillars, of 5 concrete principles at the Security Council, has been putting the limelight on this. Every time something happens, the IAEA is immediately there, informing, bringing objectivity into something that could be otherwise highly debatable. So I hope that we will be able to continue, and that the continuity of the work of the agency will be supported by all countries.
Sorry, my question was not just about the financial concerns, but also the actual safety concerns of the rotation and also of the IAEA team at the location, because the first thing that might go is the internet with the Skylink, and then maybe the air support.
Well, thank you. I omitted that point. Thank you for reminding me. You know, a good example of our approach is what happened just now. I will never compromise the security of my people. If I don't have all the elements to be, reassured that they are going to be there safely conducting their work, they are going to be arriving there, living there, and giving the information. You are talking about Starlink, and for us, having this immediate capacity to be in touch with them. For example, when we had this episode in Chernobyl, our team was informing us immediately of what was going on. So we could provide with some reassurance as to, for example, the presence or absence of any external radiation leakage or whatever. So there you go.
Hi, DG. François Murphy from Reuters. Hi.
Hello.
Just a couple of things on Ukraine and Iran. On Ukraine, could you just spell out for us what route your staff took into Zaporizhzhia exactly? And on Iran, there are a few things in your statement to the board where you say that high-level engagement is indispensable, and you also say that you're looking forward to meeting President Pezeshkian soon. Does that mean you have plans to go to Iran? Is there something in the pipeline? And how do you envision this track of diplomacy happening in relation to the other kind of diplomacy that you've also called for, an engagement between the United States and Iran, or something in a broader format? How do you see this all fitting together?
Well, many moving parts, isn't it? First, the rotation took place exceptionally through Russian territory. There's no more information that I can provide on that for security reasons. Secondly, on Iran, I would say I'm in constant contact with Foreign Minister Arakchi. Since I last visited, we are comparing notes, which is, of course, natural. It's part of the dialogue we have. And the idea of a subsequent visit has been broached in our conversations. But all of this, and you were right in pointing to this, all of this is, in a certain sense, influenced by the substantive consideration from the new American administration. I have been in touch with them, and I know what I can tell you, what I can share with you, is that there is a consideration at the highest levels of the way in which they are going to be looking at this, the way and who is going to be looking at this. And there are certain names that you can suppose under consideration to be doing this. I have been in touch with them informally, and of course there is an idea to be conducting a conversation in a more, I would say, systematic way soon. So my comments on the need for this engagement of this diplomacy are of course what I believe. It is very clear that without this kind of engagement, be it formal, informal, front channel, back channel, lateral channel, I don't know, is indispensable. There has to be a clear idea of the approach. An important statement by President Trump was when he said that he wants to have some form of a deal, some form of an agreement. And this is already an indication. Of course, they want to have our views, as it has been mentioned even today by our colleague here. We are working on a comprehensive report. Eyes are on it. I am conscious of that. So we need to engage as soon as possible, because time is passing. You have seen my reports on the activities in Iran. The amount of enriched uranium at 60% is growing very, very fast. All of the activities are being carried out. All the strengthening of their capacities is underway. And we are seeing that at different facilities. So all of this makes it for a need to start moving. We are ready. Everybody knows it.
Yes, thank you very much. This is Sharq News Television, based in Dubai.
Hello.
Going back to Iran again.
Yes.
Your Excellency said today in your speech that, Iran has not been cooperating for the last 2 or more years. Iran has increased the number of kilos of uranium, or doubled actually, almost doubled. And this state has been, for the last 2-3 years, Iran is not cooperating. I remember Iraq when in the 1990s, when Iraq is not cooperating, the second day, the UN Security Council take a new resolution. So my question is, what's next, with this? There is no cooperation. There is, sort of increase of the uranium kilos. So what's next from the IAEA? Thank you.
Well, from our side, as I was telling Mr. Murphy just now, from our side is as the only institution that is present in Iran, that is inspecting in Iran, that has a view of what is going on, we are ready to play a role which is indispensable in whichever process, the diplomatic process, with 3, with 2, with the Europeans, without the Europeans, with the Americans, without the Americans. Nothing can be done if the IAEA is not ready to verify, is not ready to conduct its technical work. So we are ready. We have been at all times offering technical viable ways to ascertain, to confirm that the Iranian nuclear program is in peaceful purposes. There are doubts, there are concerns, so we are all the time offering Iran ways to set the record straight if they believe that there is an unjustified doubt. So I hope that this year will bring us closer to more clarity there. I think this is needed. In the current context of international tensions, we really need to put this on the right track, I believe.
Merci beaucoup. Bonsoir, c'est Al-Mayadin TV, Arabic News Channel, based in Lebanon, Beirut. Monsieur Grossi, j'ai 2 petites questions. Oui. D'abord, quand est-ce que vous allez sortir votre nouveau rapport sur l'Iran? Et certains pays, aux Nations Unies, au Conseil de sécurité, ils ont menacé l'Iran de la remise en place des sanctions des Nations Unies si ils ne sont pas conformes avec vos revendications. Finalement, est-ce que vous avez du nouveau concernant le dossier syrien après le changement du régime? Merci.
Bon, pour la question du rapport compréhensif qui m'a été, que j'étais instruit de faire et d'élaborer à partir de la résolution du Conseil des gouverneurs l'année dernière, nous, on est prêt à travailler là-dessus. C'est clair que c'est un rapport complexe où on va intégrer toutes les informations dont on a besoin et nos évaluations. Je crois que pour ce qui est de la stratégie ou l'approche des pays, ce n'est pas à moi de dire mon mot là-dessus. Je sais qu'il y a, que ces rapports est inscrit parfois dans le contexte des approches des pays. Moi, ça, c'est un facteur que je ne dois pas et que je ne considère pas. Je crois que mon devoir, c'est de présenter un rapport solide, un rapport qui présente la situation telle qu'elle est. Donc, c'est ça mon effort, et je pense que ça ne tardera pas beaucoup, parce qu'on a le temps, mais pas trop de temps. Donc, il faut penser que, donc il y a, comme vous le savez, il y a des délais pour en général, je dirais l'automne, en ce qui concerne les sanctions, ces processus connus comme les snapbacks. Donc, on a un peu de temps, mais pas beaucoup. Donc, il faut qu'on agisse. Pour la Syrie, je me suis référé à cela aussi lors de mon discours au Conseil tout à l'heure. On avait commencé un processus important, parce que, comme vous vous rappelez peut-être, après la destruction du réacteur d'Aïr al-Zour, il est resté des installations que l'agence n'avait pas pu visiter à l'époque et qui étaient organiquement liées à cette activité-là. Donc, finalement, et après un effort considérable, j'ai pu envoyer mes inspecteurs l'année dernière. Donc, on aura le résultat des échantillons qu'ils ont pris là-bas, qui nous diront beaucoup par rapport à des activités éventuelles qui ont peut-être eu lieu là-bas. Et donc, j'espère pouvoir reprendre contact plus concrètement avec les nouveaux gouvernements aussitôt que possible.
Last question from ORF.
Peter Fritz, Austrian Television, ORF. Sir, in light of recent developments, there have been calls, mostly in social media, but also on others, for additional European states to acquire some sort of military nuclear capability by cooperation for Germany, for instance, but also for, genuine nuclear armament has been recommended for states like Poland, Ukraine, of course. Does this concern you at all?
Well, yes. I think we have something which is called the nuclear non-proliferation regime, which I believe has been a pillar of certainty and stability after for the past half a century, more or less, for 50 years, with deficiencies, with discrepancies from time to time, but by and large, I believe that the arrangements that we have had for the past half century should not be unraveled. And to put it very clearly, more countries with nuclear weapons, I don't personally believe is the path to go, but rather the opposite, and keep our cool, work on the political problems that there are. That is not my process. We are doing whatever we can where we have a mandate, as I have been discussing today with you. But certainly, while recognizing the volatility and the instabilities that we have, this does not mean or should not necessarily mean that we should throw everything out the window. And I think the nuclear non-proliferation regime must be protected, must be strengthened. And I should recall that the United States and the Russian Federation are the depositories of the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty of 1970. So I think it's very important that everybody is reminded of its responsibilities. So I hope we will continue in this way. So I thank you very much. Thanks for your attention. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.